This conference will now be recorded.
All right, there we go. We're being recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the June 8th, 2021 Tenino City Council work session. We have a couple items on the agenda to discuss. We can start with Troy Cannon's water report presentation. Troy, you got to take it out. There you go.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Sorry. I'm back at the office down in the city here, and me and Jason are sitting here trying to figure out how to hook everything up. So I'm hoping you guys got us.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, perfect. We can't really hear you, but we're good. So you guys want to talk about the water report?
Yes, please.
So last year's water, we were at total at 59, well, basically 60 million gallons, which is really low for previous years. I know we haven't had the pool going for last year, but still, in that aspect, is we're way under previous years. So that's really awesome for us. So that what that equals out to is on our ERUs. In 2019, we had 364 ERUs. ERUs are per household, right? So, and right now we have, with 2020, we have 384 ERUs. So every time we use less water per year, we get more ERUs. So we're looking really good right now. I think our new meters helped out. We have, since we changed those out, we found a lot of leaks, of course. And then also is our leak detection program is all of us do a great job of trying to find leaks every day, especially in the summertime, because that's what shows its ugly face right now is leaks. But no, that part of it's really good. So it helps out on future development and stuff like that, because we do have quite a bit of ERUs left. So doing a third well right now doesn't make sense, since we are saving a ton of water. So if you guys have this in front of you, you guys can scroll down. Anything you got any questions for me, just holler. Water loss in 2019 was 9 million gallons. In 2020, we were at 5 million gallons. So, and like it's water usage in 2019 we're 61, 2018 we were 66 million, 2017 we were at 90 million. We had a huge leak in 2017. So then you go back to 2016, we're at 72 million. So even with the development we've had in the city of Tenino, we have 30 some homes, Briar Lane. We had development at Park Street, the end of Park Street in 2017, 16, and 17, and we're still going down. So that's a plus for us. I mean, it really is. So,
So every city has a certain allotment of
Yes.
water that it can pull out of the system, out of the basin that they're in. And
right, we're permitted to pull out 87 million, almost 88 million gallons per year. That's what we're permitted to do.
Yep.
And right now we are at, what did I tell you? Almost 59, so call it 60 million gallons.
And so the
we
Department
have 20 million gallons to spare.
The Department of Ecology highly regulates that.
Yes.
And we have to track how much we use and how much we lose. And in the past, we've had, water loss has been an issue due to the, like our water system infrastructure, having leaks and things like that. And over the last couple of years, Troy has diligently tracked down leaks. And with our upgrades in our water meters, we've been able to further find leaks and kind of improve upon the system that we have, so that instead of, when we look at our ERUs, I think it's equivalent residential unit, one ERU represents one household, our number has gone up because of Public Works due diligence, and that's a good thing. So we're sitting on a cache of water that we need to keep and maintain and be mindful of, because that is, that's our future development. If you get, you start that ERU number, the water banked capacity that you have as it goes down, it means that less houses can be built, less commercial uses are available. So we have quite a bit that's tied to our growth that's available. And then if you look at our potential growth and the projected growth, most of that growth is projected and anticipated on the west side of Tenino. 10 years ago, they were talking, the city had planned on something like 1,000 houses out there. Thankfully, that is not going to happen. We're looking at some limited growth out there. And it's important to remember that with that growth, we have written into our ordinances that the developer needs to provide the water. So when we talk about development on Lemon Hill and development on the west end of Tenino, that does not tap into our cache of available water. It is required that the developer bring that water with them and provide it to the city. So any development on the west end of Tenino would not dip into our available water, which is important to remember. We need to maintain a certain amount of availability. It's like a savings account. So Troy's done a great job improving upon that. And so I want to thank Public Works for doing what they do.
Well, thank you, Wayne. Anything else you guys want to talk about in the water report? Anyone have any questions? Or
I just want to thank you also, Troy. Thank you very much.
yeah, you
do a good
effort,
job.
all of us. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Troy. That brings us to Mr. Aslan Mead from the EDC.
Hello, everyone. Tonight, it's nice to be back with you again. So yeah, just know that everything we are working on is continuing to move forward each week, each 2 weeks. So when we come back here to council, we have been able, now it's really a leg up to starting to onboard Becca as the clerk treasurer. And so obviously that has been a big missing piece at the city staff level for the last several months. She is now joining in on the meetings with the agricultural park project, as well as with the city bond initiative. We did have a meeting at the end of last week, and understand that process better, and are continuing to take steps forward. The actual ordinance that would be written language is starting to shape up, and basically the next step is to send it out as an RFP, and then get some bank quotes back, which we then bring before city council and see if that is something that is appetizing to you all. So that's the next process on that piece of it. Anything you want to add, Becca or Wayne? Okay, I'm seeing a head shake. And then on the other side of things, we met with a local architectural firm who just sent in a pro forma to us today. I'm meeting with Perry Shea from SCJ tomorrow. He's kind of acting as advisor from his position on the EDC board. We're going to review what the architectural firm is offering. They basically be the kind of project manager to get the engineering and architect piece started, which would go out to RFP. We'd get bids, and then we could start the civil work, which would then lead to the building construction work. So, nothing seems to move quite as fast as Aslan would like to see, but we are taking those steps further each and every day, each and every week. And at this point, still projecting probably another 4 months before we'd actually be out there moving dirt again. So that's where I'm at there. Any questions on that from anyone? Crystal Wright has left. Okay.
Okay.
It's hard to really see anyone if people are raising hands.
Yeah, I know. If you can turn on your cameras, it would be nice. And thank you those that actually do. Aslan, any other developments on the Ag Park?
Just know that we're also moving forward with the planning commission side of things. So that's moving forward as well. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's everything I have to report at this point in time.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, since we've got some time, I'd like to talk about police departmenting. So a few weeks ago, as we all know, unfortunately, Chief Lougheed, due to medical issues, had to turn in a resignation and a retirement. So we have been working on coming up with a plan, and I believe we do have a plan to go forward in a transitional fashion. It's good to, in my mind, get some time and space between one chief and the next, and take time, slow down, and meet with the community and talk about what they would like to see moving forward in their police department and in their chief. So we are very fortunate to have someone locally that knows our community and knows our police department very well, and is very familiar with Thurston County and really everything else. Mr. Chief John Hutchings, now interim Chief John Hutchings, would like to introduce himself, and we can kind of start a conversation about what happens next with the police department and how we can go forward, and kind of how he could help shepherd us along and meet with community groups and talk about what they have and what the community has as a vision. So, Hutch.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, council members and guests. I am John Hutchings, and just by way of a real quick, brief bio, I have 35 years of law enforcement that culminated in March of 2015 as the chief of Tenino. And then the following year, in 2016, I ran for county commissioner and won the election. And the previous 2 years, or the last 2 years of that 4-year cycle, I was the chair of the board of the county commissioners. And what a ride this has been. I have a master's degree and 2 graduate degrees, and I was very blessed and fortunate in 2007 to be awarded a Fulbright scholarship, where I conducted a research project in England for 3 months. And so being a Fulbright fellow was an exceedingly enriching program and experience in my life. So by way of a brief bio, that's it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. But what I've done so far, and I just started yesterday, was I met with the Tenino Police staff, and I set the basics of setting up housekeeping, business cards, phone, setting up a computer and whatnot, and getting us dialed in technologically wise. I was been in contact with Tyler, with the chamber regarding Oregon Trail Days, and there's a meeting coming up this Friday, I believe it is. Contact with Joyce Worrell, the vice president of the chamber, and I'll be attending the chamber meetings again. I joined the Lions Club, Tenino Lions, in 2012. And then in 2015, I transferred up to Olympia West Lions. And so I'm still a member of the Lions, so I'm going to be re-engaging, contacting Len to go back and heading back to Lions Club in Tenino. I'll still be a member of both, but again, an active organization within the community. I'm sure they will have input as well. I talked extensively today with the Tenino Superintendent, Joe Belmonte, about police chiefing and such, and the transition that he's going through, and the transition of your new superintendent, Clint Endicott, coming from Yakima. And it's not very often I get to look up to somebody, but he's 6'6", I'm told. And so I'll get a chance to look up to someone. I met Fire Chief Shafron today as well as seeing Rana again at City Hall and meeting Jen and Becca. A great team you've put together over the last couple of years. I've gathered the chief's job description that Tenino has used, and a couple others from other agencies, and I'll kind of meld those together so we get the best of both worlds. But being realistic, this is for Tenino and not a Seattle or New York or LA. And I'm looking at the applications too to make sure they're up to date and inclusive of all the information that we would need. I've identified the person that will do the background investigation, the psychological exam, and the polygraph examiner as well. And eventually I'll create an interview panel and the process for the chief with all of it, as the mayor said, very transparent but collaborative with the community members, especially council, and having input from council. I will also get with individual council members to discuss this issue and answer any questions you might have. And regarding the current activities, of course, we're going to get through Oregon Trail Days flawlessly. It's going to be a successful event, and schools are graduating, and there's a parade this Friday, and we'll shut down Sussex for a little bit and have the parade go through. And this is just day 2. So I'm looking forward to a very busy season. I don't think this is going to take long, but how long is long? I have no idea. But this is designed to go 3 to 6 months, somewhere in there. But I will be available to the mayor, of course, and be available to council as needed. You just let me know. Please, if you have any questions. Okay.
Just
I'm
want
happy
to
to-
welcome back a little bit.
What's that?
What's that, Jason?
Oh, I was just gonna say welcome back for however long it is.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. I've run into some people in the community that I haven't seen for a while. They've said hi to me and said, "What are you doing?" So it's a mutual reintroduction.
Very glad to have you back, Hutch.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Yep. Thank you, Chief Hutchings. It is nice to see you back, and I think it's great that we've got somebody that can help move the chief hiring process along and ensure that the police department stays afloat and the police officers are supported, get what they need to continue doing their jobs and ensure public safety. So thank you very much. We're in good hands.
Well, thank you for that, Mayor. And it's going to be a fun ride. But I would like to know, like council members to know, and the independent, anybody else, that my email address is JF, like John Frank, JFHutch at ci.tenino.wa.us.
Excellent.
So if you want to reach out to me, help yourself, please. I'm available. Thank you, Aslan.
Okay, we have another 15 minutes. Becca Anderson, do you want to give your report, since it's probably longer than the 3 minutes that are customary during the reporting period?
You're saying I'm long-winded?
Well, there's a lot going on between the police department, the public works department, and City Hall. So
We've just been trucking along. There's a lot to go over. Made some success on our annual reporting. They're due by May of every year, and we had to do 19 and 20. So I've been working with our software company to get that done. A lot of work with IRS and DRS so far, and then obviously trying to get all of our bonds and grants and whatnot in order as well. So constantly progressing. So hopefully we get to continue doing that. I don't know if anyone has any questions on where we're at or what we've been focusing on. Guess I could have turned the light on, huh? No questions.
okay. All right. Thank you, Becca. Is there anything else that anyone would like to discuss in the work session? We have about 10 minutes left. Freestyle.
Has it been announced yet that the deal for the Barnett property, the largest chunk now did go through about a week and a half ago it's ultimately fish will go
It has not
towards.
been announced. Go ahead.
Yep.
It has not been announced.
So yes, the organization called the Conservation Fund has finalized a deal with Dr. Barnett for the largest chunk of the property, which will be used for habitat conservation, but will also be able to be opened up for outdoor recreation, horseback riding, hunting, hiking, things of that nature. And so, we already talked about the Dusty Johnson portion that will become the equestrian center. So the surrounding area will be will be open to outdoor recreation. And then that Lemon Hill Properties looks like that's also moving forward towards residential. I actually got a call from the federal Fish and Wildlife yesterday, and we harkened back to sitting in the EDC boardroom 4 years ago, where we basically said, hey, we wouldn't mind necessarily if you guys got some of this land, but we would like to keep the agricultural piece agricultural. We'd still like pieces to be residential, and basically everything we wanted back then, it looks like we're going to get. So I'm pretty happy with how things are turning out.
So to kind of explain it a little further, the Alpacas of America property is in total, how many acres would you say, Aslan?
Like 1,700 acres.
Yeah, around 1,700 acres. The private landowner, Dr. Bill Barnett, it is his land, and he gets to decide what is done with it. It's not up to the city. The city can create kind of rules within the law that that kind of set, create a box or create parameters with which development should occur, but we don't decide how somebody deals with their land. Dr. Barnett, some of the alpaca property is in the city, some of it is not, some of it's in the UGA. Dr. Barnett broke his property up into 3 parcels. Where's my camera? 3 parcels. The largest parcel being the one that Aslan just mentioned, and it is kind of it goes from it's the east or the west end of the property and goes up onto the hillside, and that's about, would you say, about a 1,300 acre parcel?
Somewhere around in there.
Somewhere around that. It is being purchased by Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. It is outside of city limits, and it will be set aside as a natural area for as long as Fish and Wildlife owns it, which is probably going to be forever. It would be opened up for outdoor recreation. The activities they have mentioned to us include hunting, fishing, bike riding, hiking, but I'm sure it doesn't end there. The lower portion of that property that is in the prairie, that is going to be likely considered some type of critical habitat. So if you think about like the Mima Mound Preserve out in the Grand Mound area, there's trails that go through it and you can walk through it, but you can't get off the trails or you kind of get in trouble. So it is open to the public, but there are some rules around it. The smallest portion of Dr. Barnett's property is the what we all look at and consider the alpaca farm or Dandar farm, and it's that big large barn. It was purchased by a local resident who is making it an equestrian facility. That is what it was since the 50s. It was a large equestrian facility that was, it was international, famous across the country. It was one of the premier equestrian facilities raising racehorses in the country. And Tenino kind of made a name for that. And it is very cool that somebody has bought it and is putting it back to that traditional use. The remainder of the property, and I want to say about 300 acres. Does that sound about right, Aslan?
Again, I'm not exactly sure on the Lemon Hill property.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. That is the Lemon Hill property. That's the hillside that you see when you're standing in Tenino and you look to the west. There is a developer that is in the works and is in contract to purchase it, and they would be putting some homes in there. What exactly that looks like is going to be something that is debated and talked about at several community meetings and town halls, and they will be leading the charge on that. It is their property. The city will be working with them to make sure that they provide the information and we get everything out there. But this is just the beginning of a discussion. So everybody kind of stay in tune with that, and we'll provide more information, but there's nothing official yet. We're just kind of front loading some information for you guys so you can be aware as you talk to people around town. But that's about where that's at. We do have requirements for growth based on projections from like the Office of Financial Management. Every year we're told that we need to anticipate so much growth. We need to have our boundaries aligned in such a way so that we can accommodate the expected and anticipated growth. There's always good and bad that comes with it. You know, there's a lot of people that don't appreciate the road conditions that we have. No offense, Troy and Jason. I know you guys work hard to keep them in good condition, but you know, really to do really good road care, we simply don't have the tax base to support it. You know, most of the people that drive on it and drive through town, they don't pay into our tax coffers. When somebody lives out McIntosh or somebody lives out Skookumchuck, they're not paying into Tenino's taxes, but they're using Tenino's roads. So there, you know, if we do want to take care of things like that, we do have to accommodate and make plans for and expect some growth. I know when I took office, one of the biggest and still one of the most hotly debated things is our utility fees. In 10 years ago, 12 years ago now, we created a sewer system. The sewer system was built with speculation into it that there would be a lot more growth. So the city at the time, prior to any of us, except for John, but I think you might have been on a hiatus. It built out a very expensive wastewater treatment plant, expecting more homes to be able to pay for the debt. Those homes didn't occur, so all of us, the city residents, are paying that debt now, and our utility bills are high. If we do allow for build out, if we do get some development, that is the only hope to lower our utility bills. And so it is important that we really think about this, we really plan carefully for it, and we consider all the pros and cons of these things. But ultimately, there is only so much that is the city's actual decision, because when you're talking about the United States of America, one of its founding principles is, and John, I'm sure you can go off about this, is private land ownership and respecting private land ownership and government not overreaching in the affairs of private landowners. So, we do our best to create rules that facilitate and allow for responsible and sustainable growth. And that's where it's at. So does anybody have any thoughts on that? John, you want to get on a soapbox about private land ownership?
No, not about that. It's just being real careful about what we do on our end. The reason that that whole area is still as it is and there hasn't been any development is because of what the city did in trying to force things instead of letting it naturally occur. If we let things naturally occur and have a gentle process, which Tenino has been known for with business and everything else, we're going to be just fine. If we try to force things, people are just going to say, "Okay, I'll sell," and we'll be back where we were. So we're just going to need to be real careful.
Any other thoughts or comments from council?
Mayor, I would just back up what Councilmember O'Callahan said, what you've said also. And as the District 1 Commissioner representing Tenino and the central core of Thurston County, I did my best in 4 years to get government out of the way of people wanting to do what they want to with their land and not requiring certain permits, reducing fees and such, and getting the wait time down just to move the progress and get the government out of the way.
Thanks, sir.
One other thing that I think,
go ahead,
Wayne, before we go on, one other thing that I think would be really beneficial for Tenino as a whole is to figure out a way to tie the equestrian center in with our trail system. Most of you don't know that the trail system, Rana can back me up on this, was originally designed for horses. So people can go ride the trails using their horses, and that pretty much got taken away from them. If we could bring that back, that would help the equestrian center, never mind the rest of the city, out greatly. At least I think it would.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And we are making sure that vision is included in the discussions. so that, the developers, they do want to work with the city and work with the community and find out what those things are, because there are going to be amenities that come along with this, and they do want to work in line with us, and that is one thing that has been made clear that is important to our community is like multimodal transportation, which means, not just putting in roads. We need to make sure that our trail system is connected. But that brings us to the end of our work session time. So I'm going to end the work session. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the June 8th Tenino City Council meeting. Let the record show that all City Council members are present. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of
to
the
the
United
flag
States of
of the
America,
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty
with
and justice
liberty
for
and
all.
justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. That brings us to an agenda needing
Move approval
approval.
of the agenda as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to the minutes of the City Council meeting for 5/25/21.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to the consent calendar. This is the consent calendar consisting of May 26, 2021 through June 8th, 2021. Payroll EFTs in the amount of $31,472. Claims checks number 29920 through 29949, and EFTs in the amount of $28,217.20 for a grand total of $59,689.20 with no license renewals.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We have no executive session. We gave our presentation time during the work session. That brings us to public comment. If there is anyone in the audience that is a member of the public and would like to provide comment, now is your time. Please do so. Just key up your mic, and if there's more than one person, I'll try to get you one at a time. You'll be given 3 minutes. State your name and your home address, please. Again, if there is anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment to the City Council, now is your time to do so. Going once, going twice, gone. We have no public hearings. We have no proclamations. Old business. Information on the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife purchase of approximately 1/3 of the Alpacas of America property. We talked about that in the work session. You've been provided the email that I received from Fish and Wildlife. You can review that at your leisure. Is there any questions or comments or anything like that on the Fish and Wildlife initiative or actions? And again, it is outside of the city of Tenino, but within the boundaries of what we would consider the Alpacas of America property.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Tenino.
I would agree. It helps keep, Tenino and have that, with that rural space, and to have, Tenino is essentially surrounded by nature preserves. We've got the hairnet on one side and we've got Fish and Wildlife on the other. It's going to be like that for, more than our lifetimes, which is great. New business, approval to add clerk treasurer to bank accounts. You know,
Move
pull that up
approval.
on there, Jen.
Second.
This is just basic housekeeping.
It is. We have a motion. We have a second to approve clerk treasurer Becca Anderson to being added to bank accounts as a signer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 8, review and approve retainer for Young Love and Coker. This is regarding an action that we've talked about or some ongoing legal issues that we talked about in previous meetings. This is we are asking that the council approve for Mayor Fournier to sign the agreement to retain Young Love and Coker.
Before we go any further, I want to make sure this has got nothing to do with FD.
It does.
Okay, then before we go any further, I need to make the announcement as the chairman for the fire department. If anybody has a problem with me making any kind of motion or helping with decision on this, if you think there's a conflict of interest, then just let me know and I will not take any action on this issue.
Thank you, John. Do we have a motion to approve the mayor to sign the retainer agreement?
Move approval.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to the American Rescue Plan funds discussion. This is purely informative. We don't have any actions requested at this time, but as has been discussed in previous meetings, the American Rescue Plan is it's a disbursement of funds from the federal government going to, well, every city in the United States. Tenino is slotted to receive about $260,000 for the year 2021 with additional funds in the future. And you can read through the plan on what the funds can be used for, but it's very wide and it has to do with a lot to do with economic recovery. And so I just want everybody to be aware of that. And we will be coming with recommendations, looking for suggestions, but we also have, kind of started heading a direction. So I just want to make sure that everybody's still on board and so everybody's still, kind of thinking with the same vision.
Can I suggest something now, Wayne, or wait till you want that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was thinking some of the money we could use for is something for like the teenagers here in our community, something for them to go out and do and not be bored all the time, and maybe get out of the house instead of playing video games. Put something like a skateboard track somewhere or a pump track in down by the park area, somewhere like that. If there's like information or something you can get on that, it'd be great. But I think that would really help out the teens here in our community, get them to do something.
Okay, that's a good suggestion.
I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
I think everyone knows how I feel about the businesses in Tenino. I believe that the city and we as a council have an obligation to those businesses. Paving the city parking lot on the corner of Central and Howard will go a long way in helping the downtown business. I would like to see part of the money go for that.
Okay. Okay, I will get information on those potential ideas, and we're going to be talking about this more. Is there any other discussion, any other ideas, concepts, questions?
Yes, I think it's been about a year ago now. Lacey, I asked Lacey for some information on how they're maintaining their roads. And they have what's called some kind of a slurry program. I forwarded to you about a year ago. I don't remember if you remember me sending it to you, but it might be
I
time
remember
to
you
take
talking about it.
Okay, I think it might be time to take another look at what they're doing since we have some funds, and maybe we can extend the life of some of the repairs that we're doing.
Okay. All right. I got homework.
Yeah, and then just to cut in really quick, I agree with Jason 100%. And then with doing something for the youth and teenagers and put maybe like a skate park or a pump track. And then I know some youth members of the community that will spread their voice too about that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Cutter.
Get them involved. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. We're going to move along. That brings us to resolutions. We have none. Ordinances. We have none. Reports. Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Sharp.
The Chamber of Commerce is going to have our next meeting next week. It'll be Joe Belmonte and Clint, and they will be our guest speakers. We also have an intern for me who's going to come and give a presentation about seeing Tenino through a visitor's eyes and kind of things that she documented and saw and what the experience was. So that's going to be interesting. The Tenino.
Is there any way that we can get any kind of presentation like that at the council?
Yeah, we can do that too.
Okay, yeah, something to think about. Thank you.
The Tenino Area Chamber of Commerce Visitor and Information Center is moving to the building in between the Landmark and the Eagles. That's going to be called Bountiful, a marketplace and more. It'll have the Visitor Information Center. It'll also have an art gallery and a gift shop. And I'm moving my steady office there.
I saw they had the windows tore out today, and we're starting the renovations of the facade.
Yeah, so hopefully tomorrow they'll put the windows in, or the next day. They have to replace the wood in that. So
awesome. That's going to look really nice. EDC, is there anything to report from the EDC?
Nope.
VCB. Aslan met with the new director tonight. I haven't heard anything about how that went. And I believe I've got a meeting with her next week or the week after that. So looking forward to finally meeting her and making sure that Tenino remains, closely tied to, vision-wise with the VCB. It's been a great relationship with the VCB as well as the EDC. I think those two things have been big game changers for us, as far as outside partners. Fire District 12.
One of the things that we are doing, and it goes further than just the growth, even though that's the important part. Tenino, if everything goes the right way, will almost double in size just because of the housing that's going in. Never mind the other businesses. If you've taken a look at the fire department lately, you go into the bay.
Can I cut in real quick?
Sure.
Sorry, when you say Tenino doubling in size, you're speaking from the fire district perspective, not the. I'm just because there's a lot of development talk. There is no Tenino, the city of 900 houses, 1,000 houses doubling in size. That when you're talking about the fire district, which is the county. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than just the city.
Correct.
But because of that, and there's been long-term plans to go out for a bond to build a new station. We're not looking for a Taj Mahal. We're looking for something where the guys that are staying the night, because we now have full-time people, can actually sleep instead of sleeping in the chairs that are there as they're moving around the fire apparatus. All that bay has been completely redone so that when the engine's starting up, the air from the engines are going outside the building instead of just hanging there until we can get out. But it's just too small for all the stuff that's going to be happening in not just the near future, but the long future. So we're going to be asking the district to approve a bond so that we can build that. We can't tell you for sure yet where the new one is, because where it's going to be because of land negotiations, that kind of stuff. But we can go ahead and start letting people know that on the August election that we will be asking for approval of a new bond.
Thank you, Commissioner.
We're also going to be hiring 5, I think I already told you about this, 5 full-time and 5 temporary. And we're going through the red card procedures now.
Thank you. I totally agree that the district outgrew the fire station probably 20 years ago, which is why I was against them buying the building, because they'd outgrown it at that time. My biggest question, and before I can make any decision about the fire district going to bond for a new station, is where, really. I mean, that is the biggest decision maker for me, because I'm going to be much more as a city resident. And somebody that is very concerned about the business community and how the fire district supports the business community. The biggest decision for me is how closely it's located to the core of the district. And I don't know of any property that the district has purchased within the city or near the city. So that's kind of, that for me, that's something that I'd love to hear more about. It would probably be even appropriate for the fire district to come to a city council meeting and give a presentation on their capital facilities plan.
As that time gets a little bit closer and we have more concrete answers, we'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
But as far as where it's going to be, because things are in negotiation, and Wayne, you know this as well as anybody, if we start tipping a hand this way and that way, that could double the price of what we are looking at. So we're keeping that part under our hat until we finally make the final decision.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested in knowing and hearing that presentation.
Yeah. I mean, August comes quick.
Yes, it does.
That's only 3 meetings from now.
Yeah.
So maybe you can nudge.
I'll bring it up we've got a meeting I think it's next week. I'll bring it up then.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Library. I do not see a library representative, but if you look behind the library, the city has begun construction on the back addition to the library, the outside reading room or outside reading area slash kind of outside pergola for the farmers market. That construction's underway. It looks very nice so far. Remind everybody that the funding comes from the Washington State Arts Commission. And we're pretty excited to see that. It should be wrapped up here in the next couple of days. We had to do a quick switch from projects from the parking lot to that, so that we could get a project done in time, because the parking lot project wasn't moving as quickly as we needed it. So thankfully, due to the swiftness of our city staff, we were able to change directions, and you'll see a nice little outdoor reading area behind the library soon. Museum.
We have a meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay. Tenino Community Service Center. I see a representative from the one and only Jody Stoltz.
Well, hello. There's been a lot going on at the food bank, a lot. We were able to secure a very large grant through Washington SDA. And so we started in with the electrical, since we've had many electrical issues, and we outgrew ourselves in a good way, but then in a bad way. So we hired a local electrician company, Master Electrical, and David came out and did an assessment. Unfortunately, when they got into the upper decking of the building, they realized how bad things were. We had some pretty nasty wiring going on. Everybody and their dog seemed to have to put their fingers in wiring that they shouldn't have. So we now have propane will be delivered, 700 gallons of propane tomorrow. That should suffice if we have any kind of power outage. We can keep everything running for about 5 days. If we don't turn on certain things, we can keep it running, and it's an automatic. As soon as the power goes out, these things kick right back in. So we're not going to have to sit down there and figure out Okay, now what do we do? Do we go get the truck and unload everything? We're getting ready to close this phase out very quickly. We should be done with this by the end of the month. Then on goes the second phase. We have talked to Merritt Construction again. We really liked dealing with them. So, Mr. Mayor, you'll be revisiting your old high school buddy.
Adam and I can hang out again.
Yeah, you get to hang with Adam. He will be at next month's meeting that you will be attending, hopefully. We are looking at having a after hours here fairly soon. We would like to make sure that City Council is invited. There'll be a few just people invited so that we can let them know how things went, what our plans are for the future, so that we can grow as the community grows. And at that point, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Jody. I think I mentioned the last time Jody gave me a tour of their facilities, and they have come a long way. I'm really proud of the work that the Community Service Center has done during the pandemic. They have really had to step up their level of service, and they've done that. They've more than done that. They've provided so many meals and so much help for families in the region. And then they've also, and this is really cool, they've also seized upon the opportunity where there's a lot of resources that have become available for food banks and organizations like the service center, and they have made vast improvements to their facility, to their refrigeration units, putting in backup power systems. What they have done is great. I'm sure that Rob and Rudy would be very proud. I know that I can probably speak for the council to say that we're all very proud of what you guys have done in the last year. So thank you, Jody, and thank you, Pat.
I'll let her know. I don't think she's on. I don't think she's on here. And then to add to what the mayor said, between Tenino and Bucota, we are delivering to 60 households for the shut-ins and for the elderly within the community. And the thing is our senior numbers just keep climbing as people either become ill and then they can't get out, or they have to take care of a spouse and they can't get out. That's what we do. We see to it that they get everything. We've delivered things from the Lions Club through their medical bank and that kind of thing. So we don't just pass out food. We do take care of our community elsewhere.
That's
and
great.
outside that box. And so this is the thing, we are a community center and we service everybody within the community, both Bucota and, well, it's actually the whole entire school district. So it's a pretty good sized area to deal with. And we take care of people out at Offutt Lake and outside of the city. So it's not just the folks that live within the city limits that we take care of.
That's great. And I just want to point, I know some people probably don't even remember this, or Cutter might not even been born yet, but in 2015, when I took office, one of, Robin and I, the founder of the food bank, we worked very hard to repair the relationship with the city and the food bank. Prior to that, it was like oil and water. The city and the food bank they hated each other, the previous administrations and the food bank. And Robin she was adamant. It was hatred. She was very, very, very open about that. But in the last, we dovetailed things together. We all started working together right off the bat. And this last year has been a great example of why that's important. And we've worked together a lot. We provided help for them when they started having to do the car deliveries. we would have staff and public works and the law enforcement we helping out. We were having meetings, and it really is it really goes to show how important it is that the city works and cooperates and helps out its organizations in town. And you guys are a great example of one.
Yeah, if we all have to work together in order to get across that finish line.
Absolutely. Arts Commission.
No update.
Facade Improvement Grant Review Committee. Linda, you are the chair of our Facade Grant Review Committee. This is our the grant that we have that we started, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And with
3
Linda's
years.
leadership, 3 years ago with Linda's leadership, we've been able to do a lot of improvements to the business frontages in town. And I'm really, really proud of the work that she's done there. Go ahead.
I dropped off an application at the feed store to paint the front of the old hotel that's between the feed store and the Cedar, Whitewood Cedar facility. And he is very anxious to do something like that. He's been wanting to paint it. So I was happy about that. And of course, they're replacing the windows at the new building, the
Bountiful
the
Marketplace.
Bountiful building, and that is with the help of the facade grant. Just working on it all the time. I gave an application to Jade at the Kodiak room. She would also like to do some things to the front of the building, so we'll just see what happens.
Thank you, Linda. That's excellent. Finance Committee, Planning Commission, they meet tomorrow night. Chief of Police gave a report. Director of Public Works. Troy, you got anything else to add? You there?
Sorry,
Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
You guys working on it?
Switch some wires around so we can hear me. I think the only thing I really want to talk about tonight is maybe the wastewater treatment plant. We're still hauling out sludge, which is a good thing. We're about halfway down in that lagoon, so maybe about 600,000 gallons so that we've hauled out, hopefully. We finally got our contract for septic receiving. Thank you, Becca. And so we talked to Goebel. They are out of Centralia, kind of south, Thurston County, and they're really excited to get started. So we're hoping next week they're going to be starting to come in and dump, which is great for the city of Tenino. They do roughly, I think off the top of my head, was it 50,000 gallons a day? So you take 50,000 gallons a day times 0.12 cents, and that's a pretty good chunk of change for the city of Tenino. And so that'll be great. The process will be dumping into the sludge pond, and then we will decant the water back through the plant and treat that stuff, and then we'll waste from whatever we get from waste from it. So it'll be awesome. We're not going to be doing any land applying this year with the sludge pond. We got a pretty good deal right now with Tribeca hauling to Shelton. And so the cost per land applying or hauling down there, land applying would be more money because we'd have to haul it farther away. So this is a better option for us right now until we get farther into it and really look into composting or belt presses and dewatering and so forth. But getting there is going to take a little bit of time, so and a lot of money. So right now we're heading in the right direction though with the wastewater treatment plant. Other than that, I think Public Works has just been working hard trying to keep up on the park and everything else within the city. We're prepping for Oregon Trail Days. But I think there is a little car show this weekend off Sheridan, so we'll have to block that off this weekend. I think it's Saturday afternoon. But other than that, we just keep poking along. If you guys got anything for me? You guys got any questions or anything?
The park looks really nice. There's a lot of people that are probably asking about the playground equipment.
Okay, the playground equipment. Everything that we ordered to fix that playground equipment, of course, like everything else, is back ordered. They told me 6 weeks ago that it was going to be 6 weeks. Now it's going to be another 2 weeks. So they're hoping, the last conversation I had with the contractor was, we're hoping to have everything done before Oregon Trail Days.
I certainly hope so.
I hope so too. And that's,
Yeah.
I've been bugging them about, once a week, trying to figure out, timelines and trying to hurry him, but his hands are tied also. It's just what you're going to get.
All right. Yeah, if that's not fixed by Oregon Trail Days, there's going to be a lot of unhappy campers.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know what else to do with it. That's what the insurance company came back and that's what they were willing to pay for us to get that fixed. A new one is, right now they're like 40-some thousand bucks just for a new one and just to replace the one we had. And they weren't willing to do that. They were only willing to replace the broken parts on it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Any other questions for Troy? All right.
Thanks.
That brings us to city planner, city attorney, clerk, treasurer.
One thing, I'm going to back up a little bit. In the approval of adding me to the bank account, we forgot to put in there that we need to remove Rana as she's doing the payroll and stuff. We want her off as a signer. So if we could just get it in the minutes that along with adding me, we're removing her. That would be great. And then we could do it all at once with the bank.
Okay. So,
Green, if
go
you
ahead,
could figure
John.
out the proper verbiage and how to make it happen, I'll move that we accept that recommendation.
Okay, so we already made a motion to add Becca to the bank as a bank signer. We just need a motion to remove Rana as we are adding Becca in her stead.
I just said that.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to remove Rana Barnes from the city as a city signer for the bank accounts and add Becca Anderson in her place.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion
Wayne?
passes. Sir?
Yeah. I think we need in the minutes to put a special note in of why this was out of order and why we did it here instead of up in where it should have been.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My report, I have provided, my report's been the whole meeting so far. Be that.
There's no report.
Okay. CIP, Solid Waste Advisory Board.
The June meeting got canceled, so then July I'll have something to report.
Okay, thank you. Steady.
Our next meeting is going to be next week on Friday, the 18th. It's going to be our first in-person meeting since February of 2020, and it's going to be at the Samsung Cafe. And after that meeting, then we're going to walk over to the Bountiful Building, and we're going to do a ribbon cutting at around between 9:45 and 10 o'clock.
So anybody that is available on the 18th at 9:30, you're invited where to?
Bountiful, which is the building between.
At the Bountiful Building for a ribbon cutting. All right, any other reports from Steady, George?
Our guest speaker next week is going to be Steve Dunk with the Washington State Department of Commerce to give us an update on all the programs that they have.
I have not seen him in quite a while. Excellent. Solid Waste, South Thurston, TCOM, Tenino School Board, Rachel.
I wasn't able to attend the last meeting, so what I was going to say then is added on to now, so it's going to be a little bit longer. But I'll start with the middle school since we're kind of on the last leg until this school year is out. So next Tuesday, the 15th, the upcoming freshmen are going to get a tour of the high school. And then that Thursday, the 17th, they're going to have their graduation promotion parade. And they'll get to drive along, parents will drive along the front of the middle school, and then the students can come out and take a picture with Mr. Neal and their teachers. And then following that, at 12:30 is going to be a barbecue that's put on by the 8th grade parents. And that's going to start at 12:30, and then there'll be a bus for kids who can't make it, whose parents can't drop them off. The bus will take them there and back to the school. So then now we're on to the high school. So like Chief said, there is a graduation parade for the seniors, and that's going to be this Friday from 6 to 7. And so just because it's open to the public, I was going to kind of give kind of the roads where it's going to start and end. So it's going to start in front of the middle school, and it's going to go down Custer, and then they'll turn right onto Central, and then right onto Hodgson, and then make their way to the stadium. And then that is where parents will pull in, high schoolers get out, then they'll get to walk up onto the stage and get their diplomas. Parents have to stay in their vehicle, but everything's going to be live streamed. So, so the parents in the vehicles can watch their kid go across the stage. So, but other than that, I think that's it. A lot of end of the year fun stuff for the school district.
I'll add
That's
something
it.
to that, Rachel. The
What, Jason?
sixth graders for next year get to go to CISPAS. So that's back
I
on.
know.
Oh,
My
wow.
Okay, so
my
Excellent.
daughter's
you
pretty
got
happy,
You
but
remember that,
it's
don't you, Wayne?
during the first week of school. They moved it up, so instead of
yeah,
November.
Jason, we got quite the group of teenage boys going. So Bristol have some familiar faces as counselors there.
Oh, that'll be exciting.
You remember
Right.
that trip, don't you, Wayne?
Yeah, oh yeah, we went to Fort Flagler, but I did go to CISPAS when Corbin's grade went. I was one of the chaperones, and CISPAS is pretty cool, but I mean Fort Flagler is, I don't know, I can't get over us not. There's probably a lot of people
Fort
that.
Flagler was awesome.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm trying to count how many. So I went, Jen went. Cutter, did you go to? You went to CISPAS.
No, I was the last year Fort Flagler.
You went to Fort Flagler. Okay. Yeah, pretty cool. Thank you, Rachel. TRPC.
Awesome. We got a lot of cool stuff coming because our retreat's in July. So that's what a lot of the report was about. But we had practical solutions make a presentation. That's pretty cool. So yeah, exciting stuff coming.
Okay. TPB.
Tomorrow morning.
Thank you, sir. That brings us to public comment period number 2. If there's anyone in the audience that's a member of the public that would like to provide comment, now is your second opportunity. You'll be given 3 minutes, state your name and address, and address the council as you wish. Is there anyone that would like to provide public comment? Going once, going twice, gone. Announcements, the John O'Callahan Hour.
Okay. As you guys have all noticed, the only fair that's been on and off, and George can speak to this more, is Lake Fair. Last I heard that it's on again, but they need volunteers. Is that correct, George?
Well, we have our permit into the Thurston County Health Department, and they have preliminary given approval. We're still waiting for our permits from Washington State Department of Enterprise Services and the City of Olympia. If we get those, it's a go. The DES isn't even going to review our permit until June 22nd.
Yeah, DES, they're not going to do anything until it's like 4 weeks out to your event, is what I heard.
No,
Is
Lake Fair's the
what?
second weekend in July, or third weekend in July.
So what? Okay, what are the dates of Lake Fair that you're?
So that'll be the third weekend. So that's you're right. It's That's 1 month out from their decision.
Okay.
That cuts it short. But because
Yeah.
everything looks like it's still a positive, the First Responders Potluck Barbecue this year will be held on September 11th, the 20th anniversary of that attack. It's a free event. All we ask is that people bring a little side dish. It's going to be at the park. I haven't gone down to City Hall to fill out that paperwork yet, probably tomorrow. I slept a lot today. But in any event, again, if some of you have been, some of you haven't. It's just to say thank you to all the first responders of Thurston County. It is not a political event. As a matter of fact, I've chased off, and you can ask Ty Messmer. He came to one and he had all kinds of political stuff on. I asked him politely to take that all off, and he did, because that's not what this is for. This is to say thank you, only to say thank you, and to meet some of the first responders of Thurston County.
Thank you. Any other announcements? John?
Mayor,
Sir, George, I did want to say that there, like 5 times this week, Lake Fair came up, and there was a lot of people not knowing if Lake Fair was going to happen or not. And I'd been saying, well, yeah, George said it was, including like Olympia city staff and the Olympia mayor. So there, you know, I don't know if there's a disconnect there, but
yes, we've had our permit into Kelly with the communication department there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you have another announcement?
I was just going to let everybody know that actually Swede Day in Rochester is going to take place on June 19th. They're going to have a parade, and they're also doing some food. So Swede Day.
Awesome. All right. Any other announcements? Hearing none, move to adjourn.
Done.
Good night.
Good night.